All right, everybody, we'll go ahead and get started with JJ Redick. Christian Clark, you can lead us off, please.
Hey, JJ, how are you doing? This is Christian Clark with NOLA.com. I've heard in previous interviews you've done, you've talked about how impactful Stan was for you early in your career. I was just wondering, what ways did he help you specifically when you were just getting started in the NBA?
He taught me about professionalism, how important attention to detail was, how important preparation was. He reinforced a lot of the things that I was learning and thought that I knew, but he reinforced them in a way that set me up for a long career. And without having played for him in years 2 through 6, those 5 years, I would not still be playing and have had the career that I've had without Stan.
Hey, JJ, this is Fletcher Mackel from NBC here in New Orleans. I was just going to ask you, David Griffin said that every move the franchise made this offseason was about grit and toughness. How do you get more grit and toughness without bringing in tough guys? Is it a mindset? Is it a coach? Is it practice habits? Just how do you get tougher and have more grit?
That's a great question for Stan, because I know he's a big fan of that book. I've probably read it multiple times. You have to bring in the right people, and that's not to say the people here before didn't have grit or weren't tough. It has to be a collective mindset. I think Stan does as good a job as anybody in teaching how to be tough, in showing how to be tough. Example of that, and just in terms of the grind and the mental toughness of the season, I played for Stan for 5 years. I'm not saying that he would never blame us, because there was definitely some blame placed on our shoulders, but Stan was the type of coach. Stan is the type of coach who's going to look in the mirror first. He's going to assess things that he did right, assess things that he did wrong. He's always going to sort of point the finger at himself first. That's mental toughness, and that gets passed down and carried on in the locker room from him to guys like me, Steven Adams, Eric Bledsoe. Then it goes down to the young guys. So that accountability, that's part of mental toughness, and that's something that we all have to learn periodically throughout our lives, and Stan will be great with that.
What's up, JJ? This is Will Guillory with The Athletic. You talked a bunch about why you think Stan Van Gundy is a good coach and he's been so impactful throughout your career, but why do you think he's a good fit for this team in particular? And on top of that, I feel like it would be weird if we didn't ask about the mustache, man. So is it here to stay? Is this just a training camp thing? What's going on with that?
So the reason I think Stan's such a great fit for our team is because he is what our team needs. We need a teacher. We need someone who is going to put us all in positions to succeed. We need someone who's going to hold us accountable. We need someone who's going to mentally and physically, and verbally motivate us. I think he carries a level of respect with him on the court, in the locker room, in the media, that we need as a group. In regards to the mustache, it's a few factors going on here. First and foremost, I'm here solo. So my family is in New York. They stayed in New York. My wife doesn't let me grow a mustache, so this seems like a perfect time to have a mustache. Number two, just want to provide some like emotional support for Stan here in his first couple weeks on the job. So this is an homage to him. And then three, the original motivation behind the mustache was I got really into all the Mission Impossible movies over the last couple months, and would just turn them on after a couple glasses of wine. And what I noticed in the final one is that Henry Cavill's character has a phenomenal mustache beard combo. So I figured I'd give my mustache a little bit of a head start here on the season, and then hopefully this beard will kind of come in. But we're going to trim the beard and let the mustache go for a little bit.
Hey, JJ, Rod Walker here with the Times-Picayune. The other day we talked to Zion, and he talked about in year two he wanted to sort of just live in the moment. But what advice would you give a guy like that going into his second year wanting to make that jump?
What advice would I give to? I would just probably give to Zion some advice. You know, why would I give advice to the media? No, he'll listen. Zion's going to figure it out. I think the biggest thing for him is just his health and being in great shape, and he looks great so far.
Hey, JJ, Christian Clark again. The end of last season was played obviously under the protection of a bubble. Just how are you mentally preparing, to go through 72 games with full travel and all that, just from a health perspective?
Yeah. My first thought on that is just hoping that we can have a season without too many disruptions. We've all seen baseball and football play out their seasons with essentially the same sort of model we're using, the non-bubble model, where we're getting tested every day, but there's outside factors that are coming into our lives on a daily basis. We're not as protected as we were in Orlando. So your first thought is just hoping that we can finish a 72-game season in a timely fashion, and that everyone's safe. Having lived, through the lockout season where we played a really condensed schedule starting on Christmas, 66 games. I think our regular season finish date was actually sooner than it will be this season. I think it was around May 1st, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember the exact date. And in that season, we had back-to-backs. We had a bunch of 4 and 5 nights. It really became about the importance of rest and recovery. And this season is going to be very similar. I think the teams that can stay healthy, and I know, I think it was Luka Doncic or somebody like that said it, who's going to have the biggest advantage. It's the teams that don't get COVID, the teams that really can sort of keep this virus out of their locker room and out of the building. It's scary, but that's just reality. And then the teams that really take advantage of the rest and recovery aspect, because it is a condensed season.
Hey, JJ, Caroline Gonzalez here with the Pelicans. 2 questions for you. First one, how is Josh Hart as a roommate / landlord?
Yeah, I'm not paying him rent. I'm not paying him rent yet. It's been great. I'm very fortunate that I've had good friends on this team. Drew let me crash at his place this summer when we were getting ready for the bubble, and Josh and Shannon have been nice enough to let me sleep in their guest room until I find a place of my own. I'm going to see a place today, so hopefully by the end of the weekend, I won't be their roommate anymore. But it's been nice. I mean, Josh has a chef. He's living first class. Lunches and dinners are paid for. I'm sure I'll figure out a way to get him a nice bottle of Chateau Latour or something like that, one of his favorite Bordeaux's, to repay him.
Second question, as a veteran, you've been in this league long enough to know how much off-court chemistry builds to on-court chemistry. With you guys not being able to practice together as a team until Sunday, and just 9 games before your preseason game, how worried are you with on-court chemistry?
Yeah, it's a great question. One thing I'll say to that, just in specifically in regards to our team, I just think we have great guys in our team. I think this group will come together quickly. I think our training camp with Stan will force us to come together quickly. But I do worry about that because, we play a game in 10 days. And we've been away for a long time. We haven't been together as a group. So it's going to have to happen quick, and hopefully it will.
JJ, it's Scott Kushner from the Times-Picayune. First of all, I have a house on the market if you're interested. And secondly, you've faced Steven Adams for a really long time. You've been through some wars with him on the court. How much do you look forward to coming off those screens? How much does he add as far as not just, a toughness perspective, but also just from a straight up basketball, perspective? Yeah.
I'm looking forward to him screening for me and not screening me. He's a big body, and somebody that I've had some battles against. My teams have had battles against. So I'm looking forward to playing with him and being his teammate. I've heard unbelievable things about him as a person and as a teammate. So I'm looking forward to that. from a basketball perspective, he provides, rebounding, defense. He's a vocal guy. I think for us, he's a vertical spacer because he's such a good lob threat and rim runner. And I know in the traditional sense of spacing with him and Zion, there's some question marks there, but to get that 5-man rolling to the rim and as a lob threat, I think provides a level of space that maybe we didn't have as much last year. And let me just say one other thing. And I know I did talk about this in my podcast, like we're going to miss all the guys that we had on our team last year. For me personally, and I've told people this privately, last year's group was one of the best groups I've ever played with in my career. It was just a bunch of class A, great individuals, and we'll miss K Rich and Frank and Ja and Drew and D Fave, and I'm sure I'm forgetting someone else, but we just had a great group last year, so we'll miss all those guys and everything they provided for our team last year.
Hello, JJ. My name is Christos. I'm from Greece. I would like to ask you what impressed you most about Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson progress about last season, and what are your expectations about next season?
What impressed me the most about Zion last season?
Zion and Brandon.
And Brandon. Okay, sorry. So Zion has an amazing ability to get his own rebound. I think that was probably the most impressive thing. His second jump is quicker than everyone else's, and at 15 or 17 feet when he catches the ball, and his ability to get sort of in one movement from that area to the rim with as much speed and force as anyone that I've ever seen. I think those are the two most impressive things with him. With Brandon, it's just the maturation of his game, and you saw it throughout the season, just stepping up and becoming a go-to player. I tell him this all the time, but I think he's a guy who eventually will average 8 or 9 rebounds a game and 8 or 9 assists a game and be a triple-double threat every night. He has such an innate desire to be great, and he works to be great. He doesn't just say he wants to be great, but he works to be great. And he's got such a bright future, and he definitely deserves the bag that he just got.
And also about Stan Van Gundy, you collaborate with him and you had a great connection with him during your Orlando Magic season, 2009-2010. Do you see any similarities between the Orlando Magic of that season and New Orleans Pelicans of this season?
Well, that team was constructed largely around Dwight Howard, who was a center, and we had 4 shooters on the floor with him at all times. So from a roster perspective, not really, to be honest with you. But I definitely see the similarities in the sense that that Orlando Magic team was ready to make a jump in terms of, becoming a top-tier Eastern Conference team, and we did that with Stan. And I think this Pelicans team is ready to make a jump, whether it's this year or the following season. The Pelicans are a team on the rise, and I think Stan's the right coach to take them to that next level.
Hey, JJ, this is Shamit Dua from Bourbon Street Shots. 2-part question. Last year, you mentioned Alvin Gentry's offense as being free-flowing. What can we expect from Stan Van Gundy on that end, more on from a schematic standpoint? And then on the other side of the court, what can we expect from Stan Van Gundy on the defensive standpoint in terms of his preparation with you guys and any things he prefers to do on the court?
Again, this is probably speculation on my part because we haven't had a practice yet. So I can't really speak to any X's and O's about, expectations of what we're going to do on either side of the basketball. I will say that, in brief discussions with Stan over the last month, I probably had 4 or 5 with him about X's and O's. I would expect, offensively for us to have a little more structure than we had previously. And I think that will benefit guys like Zion, and be able to play, with the ball a little bit more. There were times last year where, he would kind of float out there and then all of a sudden get 8 points in a minute. We want him to be as involved as possible and in as many actions as possible. Defensively, I think we'll be one of the better defensive teams for the simple fact that we'll have great discipline, we'll have great rules. We'll drill the shit out of everything, and you can tell I'm super excited about it. Can't wait for training camp. Seriously, how did I end up with this in year 15? I got to fucking do this shit all over again to stand. Oh man. All right. No, it will be great.
You're going to be the last question, guys.
I think we'll be great. We'll be great on that side of the ball. I really do. Because we also have the personnel. I think, as you saw last year with Lonzo, he's such a disruptive defender, and Eric was on the number 1 defense in the league last season. So having those two guys at the point of attack will be huge. Having Steven Adams just as a body back there. We were really good at times with D-Fave on the court at the 5, and I think with the personnel we have and with Stan, I think we'll be a much better defensive team.
What's up, JJ? This is Will again from The Athletic. And you're heading into the last year of your deal. And you've talked openly before about how it's hard to not think about what the finish line looks like for your career. And a big part of that is just how much you still want to play the game. So, looking forward, how much basketball do you think you still have left in you? And how long do you think you still want to play the game?
I'm trying to make a conscious effort to be in the moment. And so, to answer your question, I want to play as long as possible. I'd love to play, 4 more years, including this year. And I'd love to get to, year 18. That'd be awesome. But in reality, you get to this stage of your career and there's other factors that are involved. And so, my mindset going to the season is just to embrace this season. And I'll worry about a potential of year 16 in the summer. I'm not focused on that. I recognize that I'm much closer to the finish line than I was 4 or 5 years ago. And so I've got to just enjoy every day and every moment. And whether that's, on the court, in the locker room, in the training room, giving Aaron Nelson shit, I'm just going to enjoy the day.
Great. Thanks a lot, JJ.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, everybody. We can go ahead and get started with Josh. If anybody wants to lead off, just raise your hand. Will Guillory, you can lead us off, please.
What's up, Josh? This is Will Guillory from The Athletic. You're obviously going into potentially the last year of your deal. So what are you looking to really show this season as you head into, a really important year of your career?
Just show that I'm healthy, getting better, obviously offensively, shooting, being able to take the basket, defensively, make strides there. So this showed that, I keep getting better every year and I'm healthy and I'm able to play a full 72 plus games.
Hey, Josh, this is Christian Clark with Miller.com. I know you guys haven't gotten on the court as a team or anything yet, but what are just your initial impressions after getting to talk to Stan Van Gundy and some of the early takeaways?
It'll be good. He's going to be really amazing for us in terms of, creating good habits, having accountability, attention to detail, those kind of things that I feel we could have been better at last year. So just talking with him, he's going to make sure, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. And for a young team that wants to have a winning culture, that's what you need. You need guys like that to hold you accountable. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be good. It's going to be tough. It's going to be challenging at times, but it's going to make us better.
Josh, it's Scott Kushner with the Times-Picayune also. Stan used the words, you're not going to punk the New Orleans Pelicans this year. That being, adding Steven Adams and clearly Zion's there down low. You kind of always have had that, attitude and that perception around the league. How important is that, though, to kind of bring that to the whole roster and making sure that that's a part of this team's personality is showing up every night and playing tough?
Oh, I mean, it's extremely important. Like I said, for especially, we have a young group of guys. I think, we only got two guys that's in the 30s. We got JJ, who's the old man of the group with the cane, and then we got EB, who's a young 31. So it's going to be good for us. And I think we were, we showed that at times last year. Zoe's competitive, Biat's competitive, myself, and it just keeps going down the line. So I think that's a good usage of those words, I guess. Not going to punk us, and we're going to be competitive every single night, and that's something that will help get a winning culture going.
Hey, Josh, this is Jim Eichenhofer of Pelicans.com. I had a very similar question, but so I guess I would ask you, what do you think Bledsoe brings as far as defensively, and having played against him the last few years, what do you think has made him such a good defensive player to be all defense the way he has?
Just his competitive nature, his athleticism at the guard spot. Obviously, he's explosive. He's able to stay with guards. He has quick hands. He's physical, so he's able to take the bump on the drive and those kind of things. So it's going to be really good for us to be able to have him at the top. Everything kind of trickles down from him. Him be able to, disrupt offenses. Good Lord. And get turnovers and create easy transition buckets for y'all. Dang, I can't speak. My bad. But yeah. So we're gonna go with that one. I butchered that answer.
No, you're all good. Thank you.
Hey, Josh, two questions. One, now that you're living with JJ, have you been giving him crap about his mustache? And two, more on the basketball side, you're one of the best rebounding players at your position. What do you think a guy like Steven Adams does for you, who's really good at boxing out and, potentially giving you opportunities to grab and go in transition?
Yeah, I definitely talked trash to JJ about his mustache. Obviously he's staying in the guest room. So, at night I go in, I tuck him in, I give him a kiss on the forehead, tell him good night, and wake him up in the morning. So that's kind of my nightly and daily routine with him. And then having Steven Adams on the team is going to be good for us in terms of rebounding. Honestly, at first I kind of hated it because every time we played OKC, I always have like 14 or 15 rebounds. I had my career high against OKC in rebounds, and now he's coming over here trying to steal them all. So, but he's gonna be amazing for us, especially on the offensive glass, creating extra opportunities, for everyone, and having that kind of a big body, is going to be amazing, getting guys open for screens, and everything. So, and he's a quite the character you guys have kind of already seen. So it'll be good having him around.
Hey, Josh, Christian Clark here again. What are your thoughts on just, 72 games, navigating that from a health perspective and not being inside of a bubble? How will you approach it?
I mean, honestly, I don't really do too much, anyways. I kind of, in my own bubble, in the sense I really just go to the gym, work out, do those kind of things, come back at the house. My girlfriend works till like 7, so I just normally I play video games. Now I go golfing with JJ, and that's really about it. So, I have a chef that comes to the house twice a day and cooks meals. So honestly, I don't really even leave the house that much, honestly. So for me, it's gonna be cool in terms of 72 games. It's obviously it's going to be interesting, but you're able to normally we're it's 82 games. So, we're going to be able to pace ourselves, well and make sure we make a run, in the playoffs because that's our goal. And obviously it's new. A lot of guys haven't done it. I haven't done it, but, we're looking forward to it.
Hello, Josh. Christos Saldas from Greece. I would like to ask you how far from the playoffs are the Pelicans of this season? And also, what are your personal expectations about the next season?
I think we're right there. I think we're a playoff team. We got toughness. We have competitive, a great competitive nature. An amazing coaching staff. Already have, great team camaraderie. So we're all those things that helps win. That helps contribute to a winning culture. So I think we're a playoff team, and we all do, and that's half of it. So we just got to go in, especially in training camp, and get those habits down that will make us successful in a lot of these games, especially close games, but where we got the lead in the fourth, and we're able to, instead of give up that lead, we're able to extend that lead. So that's that. And then the second half, like I kind of said earlier, just continuing to show I got better, shoot the ball better than I have, last season. That's a big goal for me. Being better defensively. Obviously, we got EB and we lost Drew, so that kind of balances out. But I want to make sure defensively I take see myself up to the challenge of guarding some of the better players and just doing those kind of things.
What's up, Josh? This is Will from The Athletic again. You're obviously really close with B.I. Kind of saw him go through that whole blood clot process in L.A. and all of that stuff, and then coming here. So how happy were you to see him get his big contract and lock himself down with this franchise long term?
Oh, it was good. I mean, I was texting him and FaceTiming him since free agency started. I'm like, yeah, when am I going to see this Woj bomb and see that you signed a max? And I was on him with that, and right after he did it, I FaceTimed him. So it was good. Obviously, all the adversity that he's been going through the last several years with the blood clots and obviously, being traded takes a toll, but, he embraced it as well as anyone could. He's been in the gym nonstop, and he deserves it, and he deserves every penny of it. And it was amazing to see someone who, when facing adversity, they just found a way to push through it and get better.
Josh, Scott Kushner again with NOLA.com. The way this roster is constructed, it seems like they're going to need you to shoot more than maybe they even did last year. That in order to kind of space the floor and have the balanced attack, it's going to require you kind of doing more from the perimeter. Is that something that you've focused on as far as this offseason? Is that something that you are excited to approach, or how do you kind of take that moving into this year?
I don't think anyone's gonna be mad at hearing that they gotta shoot more. But no, I'm excited for it. That's obviously something I want to do. Talk to Stan, and there were certain things that I felt that I could do and contribute to the team that I wasn't able to show the last several years in my career. So I just want to make sure I do whatever to help the team better, and that's bigger role offensively, bigger role defensively, whatever it is. I want to put myself up to the challenge, and I want to exceed all expectations, whether that's coaching staff, front office, or myself. So I'm excited for it. It's going to be a fun year. Like I said, it's going to be a challenging year. Obviously, there's always ups and downs during the season, but just looking forward to it, and just want to find a sense of consistency, for these 72 plus games that we're going to have.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it.
Yep, appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, everyone.